Hi guys, it's Chris here from Cognicology, and today I want to talk to you guys about productivity. More specifically, what I want to talk to you about are some tips that I've picked up throughout my my working life and my PhD that have helped me work more effectively and efficiently, so that I can spend less time in an office like this, spend a lot more time in an environment like this. So I want to talk about three main things that I've changed in my life to increase my working productivity and efficiency. And there's three main areas that I've looked at, and they are in terms of my project prioritization and management. The second one is to do with time management, and finally I want to talk about the working environment and how you can arrange your working environment to minimize or eliminate distraction to perform your tasks. So many of us are working on pretty large projects in our working life these days, and a really large source of procrastination that I discovered that I was getting through my PhD as well as other working projects I had was that sometimes the projects would just seem like such a big task or such a big effort to take on, that instead of just knuckling down and trying to get the project done, I would sort of get into a state of despair and not really know where to start with the project. So I just wouldn't start, which obviously, as you can imagine, makes the issue with getting a large project completed on time even worse. So to be able to eliminate this, what I've started to do is I've started to realise the power of brainstorming. And whenever faced with a really large project or problem that I need to solve, what I will do is I will go and grab a room with a whiteboard and a whiteboard marker, and if ideally if there's a co-worker which is working on the problem with you or a similar problem, bring them along so you have someone to bounce ideas off. And what I'll do is I'll go into this room with the whiteboard and put aside a good hour, and I'll break down this project into a number of smaller tasks or smaller sub-problems. You can then have a look at these tasks that you've put up all over your whiteboard, and you can start to prioritise them. And what you'll find is a good thing to keep in mind when it comes to prioritising your tasks is a rule called the 80-20 rule. Time management is a very important part of avoiding procrastination, as without managing your time effectively, it's very easy to become distracted by other events or to start mixing your working life with your social life or your leisure life, and that starts to make things tricky and it starts to lead to an inefficient use of time. One of the most effective methods that I've found for making sure that I separate my leisure time from my working time is to set myself a defined set of working blocks. Now I'll tend to set a group of working blocks of about 50 minutes or so. It tends to be about 3 working blocks in a row, and the way that they work is I'll work for a solid 50 minutes, which I'll usually use a timer such as this one I've got set up on my mobile phone at the moment. Once I start that timer, I'll sit down at my computer and I'll do work, and I won't stop working until the timer goes off. Once we've done our first 2 steps and we know exactly what it is that we need to do, and we're setting aside times for working and times for play, we need to eliminate the number of distractions in our working environment so that we're less likely to stray from these tasks and this path that we've now set ourselves. Now, the first thing that I'm going to mention is that if you're like many of us and you work primarily on a computer, close down your email client, close down your Facebook page and your Twitter client. Even turn your mobile phone on to silent. The other thing that is important is that, especially if you're doing a job which has a number of different projects, is to be able to set your working environment such that you define your working boundaries for the different projects that you're working on. What I mean by that is, for example, I work on my PhD at the moment, but I also work on Cognicology. And what I actually do is, when I'm writing content for Cognicology, I actually have a favourite cafe which I go to, and I only ever go to that cafe when I'm writing content for this website. Anyway guys, so these are just a couple of quick tips that I wanted to give you and give you sort of a brief insight in what I've done in my life to increase my productivity with the work that I'm doing. That actually concludes the work that I need to do for Cognicology for today, so I'm going to take this board here and I'm going to go for a skate before I head back to the office. See you later.